Hello, everybody. This is Pete from PA Labs, and today I'm kind of doing an offshoot video on libraries. So we're all aware that DLLs are libraries, but many of us have used them in other languages and whatnot. PureBasic has the same concept, and I was poking around on the help system, and I came across this Build a Pure Library. And I was like, that's cool. I've always wanted to do that. I've never really searched and tried to figure out how. Well, that ends today. I did figure out how, and it's actually a very simple process. So, some wonderful people, PF Shake Shadoko, I'm sorry if I'm destroying your handle here, has made an IDE utility that you can download from here, which also comes with some more features. So pay attention. We click the Here button or the Here link, and that brings us to the PureBasic website for the what is it, forum. That's the word I'm trying to find. And we have a great big file here, and this is the file. So you can hit copy and paste it. And when you paste it, it will look somewhat like this. Um, and there's a tweak. Oh wait, there's not a tweak in this. This one is good to go. So what you want to do is come up here and say compiler, create executable. All right. And that will create your executable. And I'll show you. So I have the Pure Library Creator EXE. I downloaded this and called it Pure Library Creator. Okay, so this is the guy that's going to create our library for us. So now let's get a test file. If we scroll down a little bit, he has also wonderfully created this library down here. And it adds a bunch of awesome functions to images and stuff like that, and drawing images. And so copy this, come up here and do a copy, and then come over and create a sheet called ext2d.pb and paste the code in. Now, one tweak. Go ahead and collapse all the code. That's a Control F4. So Control F4 works as a toggle. Let me make sure I'm in here. And so it toggles open or it toggles closed. So what you need to do is go through here and make sure that all your parameters have a space. Okay? You don't want parameters to be like that. You want a space in between the comma and the next in the name. Okay? Go through here and do all of that. There's not a lot. There's only a handful. And then go ahead and save this to your hard drive. Okay? Now, this is our library. And this is, and I'll do a separate video at some point on this. This is creating a DLL, our own DLL here. And you can't have any code outside of these procedures other than, I think it's objects or something creation. But you basically receive information, and then from what you've received, you do something and then return, okay? So, and it do note, this is PureBasic inside here. You just have this, you're using longs, which we normally use, what do we use? We use integers and stuff like that. So the DLL world likes longs. Okay, so, and also it begins with a disable pure library command at the top for its creation. So that'll be a whole separate thing of creating this file right here. So then if you read farther down, what they want you to do is create, well, this is talking about what it's doing. And then we have this sample. an example of use, and this is my test.pb. Okay, I've copied him in here. Now, um, here's the real gotcha. Okay, and this isn't discussed here. Took me a minute to figure out what was happening. So we go through some of this. Chris out here made the comment that you need to separate all those names out. That's in here too. We've just gone ahead and done it. And it's recommended that you come out and create a tools, create library function. But if you're like most people install software to their C drive, okay? If you install software and you have PureBasic 6.2 or better installed, and you have it on your D drive or some other drive other than C, then I think that method will work beautifully. However, Microsoft on the C drive where Windows is installed has they're pretty upset about security, and so they've pretty much locked all those folders down. So what this is going to do is that Pure Library Creator is going to create your binary as a DLL or as a PureBasic DLL, and then he's going to put it where it belongs. Okay, and where does it belong? It belongs. Let's go ahead and open another one. I'm going to show you where they end up going. So File Explorer. I actually have this on my C drive. I don't have, well, I do have a bunch on my C drive. I did my best to try to limit most of it. But since I think I got a terabyte there, I did put some things out here. Some things slide by. But PureBasic I have out here. And I have the 6.2064 version. And if you come look at this, there's a Pure Libraries, and then there's a user library, okay? And if you notice, I have the ext2d. That's where he's putting this binary, okay? And the Microsoft OS is preventing it from happening, okay? Because he's coming back and saying, I'm sorry, you don't have rights. The PureBasic exe, what you have to do is run the Pure Library Creator exe as administrator in order for that to work. All right. So how do you do that? Well, there's two caveats here. First, you have to run him as the as administrator, but you also have to add a command line parameter to him, aiming at the file you want to create as a library. Okay, so my solution to that is actually pretty simple. What every one of you should have is a menu item or a shortcut to Command EXE on your desktop in whatever I use fences here, and so I can stack all my programs and whatnot in this and keep the desktop relatively clean. So create an icon to Command EXE. Now, where is that? That is in your Windows System 32 exe folder, System 32 folder. Create a shortcut to Command cmd.exe. That way, you can come over here and right-click him, and then you can run him as administrator. Okay. Once you run administrator, then that command prompt is pretty much God. Okay. Anything you execute from here carries your rights. as as administrator to run. So do that. And what we're going to do is navigate. Let's see. When that opens up, it opens up in your Windows 32 folder, something crazy. So go ahead and navigate over to your D drive, put in D colon, uh, navigate to wherever it is you have your PB projects, and then navigate to where that executable is, okay? So let's see, I'm scrolling way too far here. There we go. So if I type a dir, then I am in the folder where my Pure Library Creator exe lives and my test.pb. So I can come in and type Pure Library Creator. So we're going to execute the exe and then I'm feeding him the library name, okay? I'm feeding him this library that we're creating. Now, we're going to go ahead and run that. He's going to pop up this awesome little black window, and then he's going to come back and say, your library has been created ext2d. Restart your compiler, not computer. Restart your compiler. So how do you restart a compiler? Well, you could reboot your PC. That's one way to do it. However, if you come out here to compilers, we have a restart compiler option. It takes a couple heartbeat seconds. And then we can come over here to the test that we downloaded from here. It has got his test code. And then we can hit play and check out the cool screen. Isn't that neato? So we have implemented an entire library written purely in PureBasic, and then all we have to do is call the functions just like they're actually PureBasic commands. So I'm going to go ahead, and my thinking is, you know, all those functions that I have in my static? Boy, wouldn't that be nice if those were just commands? I mean, why do they have to be in a code sheet that I got to copy everywhere? That ought to just be a command. So let's make it a command. What do you think? All right, let's come over here and let's take one of my favorite little functions that I have in static, right? And we're going to say procedure DLL, and I'll come down here and say and procedure. Okay. And then we can say, let's go ahead and say image free, right? That's one of mine. And we're going to say image, and that can be a long, it didn't get my dot, did it? There. And we can say, okay, so now we're going to come in here and say if is image, and we're going to say image, and then we can say free image. I mean, I've called this a million times. Okay. And then we'll come over here and say, and if, right? Okay. So there's our procedure. We're going to create it as PA functions and say save. And, oh, yes, you're upset with me. Let's take you out of, I just created this into a procedure. So remove from there. And then now I can say save as, and we're going to save you right there. Okay, now we've got our procedure built. I've called this a million times. The only difference now is I've stuck a DLL on here. So we'll create a tester. Okay, let's remove this. remove from project. So now this is going to come in here and say, okay, we're going to define my image. I'm going to create him. And then we're going to say if he's an image, yep, we're going to pop up a message and say he's an image. And if then we're going to say image free, and we have not included the static. Okay, that's basically calling my function as if it is a pure basic function or command. And then we'll say, okay, if it's been freed, we'll say it's been, I'll do it this way, freed. Okay, so now let's go ahead, and this is all saved. So I've got to go do all those lovely steps again. I'm going to somewhat cheat. I'm going to open my library as a terminal. So now I actually have the path, you see. So if I can get that, there we go. Get that out of the way, get it a little smaller. All right, now I can come over, get out of the way, and we can run this as admin. There we go, run as administrator. Yes. And now I can say, let's go ahead and jump over here. And then, oh, that's right, I can't do that. All right, hold on. Let's see what I can do. I'm trying to think of a way to make this a little easier to grab. There, I can do it this way. Control C. All right, now I can say CD and then right click and it pastes and we're here. So there's our stuff. So I can say PureBasic library creator. And then I'm going to say functions. All right, now .pb. There we go. So, what did I type wrong? Oh, PureBasic. Oh, that's just library creator, pure library creator. There, try that then. Okay, off he goes. Okay, so we've created our functions. So now let's come out here and say compiler restart. And are you ready for this? Okay, so we did create an image and the image has been freed. So basically, we can create our own functions and commands. Now, let's take it a step further because you're probably wondering in your head. Let's go ahead and create an executable out of the tester. Okay, and we're going to call him that. Okay, so let's go. Here he is. We're going to run this as an executable. Okay, and you ready? Bam. Our code has been compiled into the executable just like as if it had been all along a function out of PureBasic. So basically, we have just extended the language of PureBasic for us. And if that's not the slickest thing that you've ever seen in your life, I don't know what is. I want to thank you all for watching. Bye. So I'm going to be doing a video, I believe next, on creating our own DLL code that we can then run this process on and create your own PureBasic command set. Wouldn't that be cool? Hey, y'all. Thank you very much for watching.